So, so what I'm trying to say, if you would like to expose, if you would like to expose your services to the third party system, then what you need to, up to here, we are having like our Salesforce URL or Salesforce instance URL. So force.com or like up to.com, whatever it is having, you can simply go with this one. And then services data. So here you are like providing standard services. That means no need to create a connect app and anything. Okay, you just need to provide these corresponding URLs here. Okay, so services data version 36, or like you can go with like whatever the current version we are having, you can go with that one. And S objects account, from which object do you want to create the record, you need to provide the corresponding object API name here. We need to provide the corresponding object API name here, so that they are able to create record whatever the like object they want. Okay, we can simply go with like this. So these endpoint URL we need to expose to them. Along with that, you need to provide the username and password, so that they are able to access and then create record in our Salesforce. So if you see here, right, we are having like some standard APIs. So these standard APIs is basically like the method is post, and the body they need to pass it like this. So name, whatever the name, phone, website, number of employees, and then industry. So these details you need to pass it. So if you would like to verify from our end, so whether it is working properly or not, if you would like to verify from our end, then what you can do, you can go with like these workbench. You can go with these workbench. Within the workbench, we can create the record. Okay, so within the workbench as well, we can verify our services. Whatever the services we want, we can like simply verify here. It's not Convera, sorry. Workbench, production, capital.com, and what training meeting. So here, what we can do, we can go with like REST Explorer. So we are having like a REST Explorer option available. So here, you need to provide the corresponding method. So whatever the method you want. So get, post, put, patch, delete, and then head. So whatever the method you want, you need to choose the corresponding method here. And then, so you already log in with your account, right? So then, no need to provide the .com and all those things here. So here we are able to like see the .com, right? So no need to provide all those things. So last details you need to provide here after the .com. So whatever the details do you want to like use it, you can use it here. And I would like to verify, I want to create like a record from our REST Explorer. So I would like to create a record from our REST Explorer. So simply I am using these endpoint URL. So whatever the endpoint URL we are having, so simply I am going to use this one. So currently it is like a version 58, right? So that's why I am going to give the version 58, and then S objects account. And then so here we need to use the method as a post, right? Method as post. Because of that, I am going to use the post method, and then simply providing the these API here, whatever the like JSON we are building, right? We are simply providing, and then click on execute, so that it is going to create record in our Salesforce. If you see here, right, it is trying to create, and it is successfully created. The ID got generated. So the ID got generated. So these ID like our Salesforce ID. So if I would like to verify whether the record is created or not, simply what we can do, I am going to like use ID here, so that we can like navigate to the the corresponding record here. So whether the record is created or not, we can verify like this. So account from REST API. So the record is created with the details what we have provided in our JSON here with the phone number and then website. So number of employees, then after like banking. So with these details, the record will be created in our Salesforce. So if you would like to expose these services, right? What you need to do, you just need like a prepare an endpoint URL like this, and you need to provide the username and password so that the Java people are like whatever using these endpoint URL, right? With the help of this one, they are able to create records in our Salesforce. Similar way, if you would like to modify, then what we can do, we can go with like these patch event, and then here we need to go with the same endpoint URL, but the thing here it is we need to provide the ID as well. We need to provide the ID as well. So along with that, whatever the details you, whatever the fields do you want to modify, you can simply go with the corresponding JSON here, so that it is going to update the record in our Salesforce. Okay. So similar way, if you would like to delete, then you just need to provide the method name is delete, and you just need to go with these corresponding a subject and then account, whatever the record do you want delete, you can simply specify this one. So similar way, if you would like to access the record, if you would like to access the record, then we are going to use a get method. If some people trying to access our Salesforce data, at the time what we need to, we just need to provide the method called get, so that they are able to access data from our Salesforce. Okay, so these are the standard APIs available in our Salesforce. We are going to use this one whenever it is required. Okay, so if they would like to just create the record, or they would like to just modify the record, or they would like to just update they would like to just delete the record. So if you go with such kind of features, then we can go with these standard APIs. And as I mentioned, we are having composite API. Composite API is basically how it is going to execute and sensor. For example, I would like to create the account record, contact record, as well as opportunity record. Okay, so here account is parent and then contact is child, opportunity is also child of account. Okay, so now the thing here it is whenever I am calling these corresponding endpoint URL. So similar way, how we are calling, right? So they are going to call our endpoint URL at the time so we need to create like a account record, contact record, opportunity record with the same URL. When we are like hitting, immediately you should create like a account record, contact record. Along with that, we need to create the opportunity record as well. So how you are able to achieve the requirement and says, we need to go with these composite API. We need to go with these composite API. So with the help of these composite API, we are able to create account record, contact record, as well as opportunity record within the sequence. So that means under the account record, we are able to create a account we are able to create the contact record, and we are able to create the opportunity as well. Okay, under the account only it is going to create it. So that's why when we are like creating multiple records with the parent and child relationship, then we go with these composite API. These composite API. So we need to remember these standard API and as well as composite API, so that you can integrate to the any system, and you are able to create the records. So that means with our Salesforce only. So with these URLs, you are able to create records in our Salesforce only. Okay. So these are things we need to remember. Any questions so far with these standard APIs? So for standard API, no need to create a contact. Directly you can provide the URL. Any question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So the next thing here it is. we go with some custom API. Custom API in the sense, for example, whenever people trying to create record in our Salesforce, then we need to execute something in our Salesforce. Okay, like I need to create data in different objects, or I need to do some calculation in our arc, and then I need to create the record. So we are having multiple things. We are having multiple things we need to implement in our integration. So at the time we are going to use these custom API. So custom API. So within this custom API, how you are going to do in sense? So we are going to prepare a class in our Salesforce like this. So first you need to prepare a class in our Salesforce like this. And when we are implementing these class, we need to make sure the class should be global. The class should be global. And so whatever the methods we are going to use, the methods also we need to use it here. So like do get, do delete, and then so do post. So like this, we can create methods in our Salesforce here. So if they are trying to access, if they're trying to get the data, then we need to use a HTTP get method. In the case of you would like to provide the update, then you need to go with the HTTP post. Okay, so with the help of this one, we are able to we are able to create the records as well as update the records. So if you would like to go with these approach, what you need to we need to go with URL mapping, and then slash service. So slash service. So then after API, and then we need go with remaining API. So and then we need to go with these account. Okay, but generally in the case of custom services, right, what we are going to do? So after this one, services, REST Explorer. So here what we can do, we are going to use REST Explorer. From the REST Explorer, rather than using data, we are going to use some REST Explorer, and then we can specify these corresponding version number. So then after whatever the parameters do you want to pass it, you can pass it. But generally, if you would like to expose, any of the service, we need to go with services slash data. So within the data, we need to use a REST resource. Within data, we need to use a REST resource. And then, so what remaining details are as it is. So after these REST resources, what you need to do, whatever the name you have provided here, whatever the name you have provided here. So we need to provide the corresponding name. So here, if I am providing a API slash account, then your endpoint URL a REST Explorer API slash account. You need to maintain like that. Okay, so somewhere they may be specified here. So URL mapping, what you need to service Apex REST API account. Like this, you need to provide the provide the your endpoint URL to the third party system. If someone asking, I would like to create record, or I would like to modify the record. So then what we are going to do, simply we are going to we need build our Apex class. Then after I need to I need to prepare these uh endpoint URL like this. So services slash Apex REST, and then whatever the URL mapping we are having, whatever the URL mapping we are having, so slash. So here what we are going to do, whatever the name you have mentioned in our URL mapping, same name you need to mention here. Okay, so salesforce.com services Apex REST. In the case of a standard APIs, we are going to use services slash data slash whatever the object name we want, we are going to provide it. But in these our custom Apex, right, what we are going to do, we are going to use services slash whatever the Apex REST, we need to keep it. So then after, whatever the endpoint URL we are having, whatever the endpoint URL we are having, we need to specify that one. So how you are able to get these endpoint URLs? So within your class, you are going to specify REST resource URL mapping, and then here you can specify whatever the name you want. So it is up to your choice. Okay, if you would like to create the records, or if you would like to modify the records, or you go with like any other name. So that's up to your choice. You can give any name here within this URL mapping. So whatever the name you have provided here, right? The same name only we are going to use it here. Okay, after Apex REST, we are going to provide the same name. It's not mandatory to give like a API slash account. API slash account is not mandatory. What you can do, you can like give any name while creating your Apex class. Okay, so within this URL mapping, and then so here you can see like a star symbol. You can see star symbol. So here, if I would like to go with only do get, then what I'm going to do, account dot do get simply, that is sufficient. But the thing here it is, I would like to create the record. I would like to delete the record. So then we need like use star here. We need to use star here. So if you're using star, then what happens in the sense you are able to access all the methods within this Apex class. All the methods within this Apex class. So if you like if you would like to go with only one service here, if you would like to go with only one service, if I would like to expose only do get, I don't want to expose do delete, then what you can do after the account, rather than using star symbol, then you just need to provide the method name do get. You just need to provide the method name do get. Then it is going to work only do get feature. Then it is going to like work only do get feature. It won't work any other method available within this class. Any other method available within this class. But if you would like to access multiple methods within this class, what we are going to do, we need to use account slash, and then uh, whatever the like method name do you want to use, you can go with that one. So these star symbol is basically if you would like to use all the methods within that class, or a specific method within that class. Okay, so based on your requirement, you can go with any one of these approach. But if you would like to expose any of the class, the first service, we need to do this one. We need to complete the, we need to complete the, so these class structure like this, REST resource, and then URL mapping. So within the URL mapping, we need to like provide the name. So then after, if you would like to expose all the methods, then you need to use the star symbol here. If you would like to expose only specific methods, then you need to like use the method name here, the method name here. So for example, if I would like to go with our salesforce.com, then if I have created this account, then what we can do, we are going to build it like this. So here services slash our like apex rest, and then we can like use whatever the method you want. So generally we are going to like provide the method name like this. The method name is basically do get. So do get like this. You need to prepare the endpoint URL. So these endpoint URL, you need to like share it to the corresponding system, like from the Java system or like from SAP system. If they are like trying to access your data, then you need to prepare an endpoint URL like this, and these endpoint URL like able to help them to access the data. So similar way, so if you would like to expose the other methods as well, then what you need to do, you need to use do delete. You need to use do delete end of your endpoint URL, end of your endpoint URL. Rather than using do get, you need to use do delete. So similar way, whatever the like whatever the method you want to access, you just need to add the corresponding name end of your URL here. So I'm going to use the, after the account, I'm going to use the do post. So like that, we can prepare in a endpoint URL. If you would like to expose the service, if you would like to expose the service, then you need to do these activity. And the main thing here it is main thing here it is uh, where is this one? One moment. So main thing here it is the way of building these Apex class. So you need to use at the rate rest resource, at the rate rest resource URL mapping, and then here you need to provide the name. Up to here it is fine. So then after your class should be global. You should not define as like a public here. Why? Because you need to expose your services to the outside of your system. So if you would like to provide your services outside of your system, then you need to use global. You need to use global. So then after you need to provide the method name before our method here. So if I would like to go with only get method, then you can go with get here. So if I would like to go with delete, then I need to specify http delete before our method name. So once you are done with that one, then you can provide the corresponding. You need to build the response, and these response you need to provide as a result to the third party system, so that they are able to access these account records, whatever the account number you have passed, right? Based on the account number, based on these account number, they are able to they are able to access our account records. Okay, so like this, so we need to build these services. So I'm going to explain the remaining part as well. So far, anyone having any questions? So far, anyone having any questions?
No, Srikant.
Okay, if you don't have any questions, then we can go with next topic. So the thing here is within this Apex class, right? We are going to follow some pattern. So the basic skeleton is basically we need to provide the method. Whatever the method do you want to provide? So if you would like to access the data, then you need to use a get method. If you would like to modify the data, then or create the data, then you need to use a post method. And if you would like to delete the record, then you need to go with this delete method. You need to go with this delete method. Okay, so depending upon your requirement. So do you want to create the records, or do you want to modify the records, or do you want to delete the records? So based on that, you can provide the method name here. So how do you know whether it is a get method or post method or delete method in sense? So here you are going to specify this method is for get service, and this method is for delete service. So here, so this method is for a post service. Okay, so whatever the services do you want to expose, you need to provide the corresponding documentation before our method name, before our method name. Okay, so once you are done with this one, your method should be like a global. So this global this global and the static. So then after account, so and then your method name. So and then whatever the rest request, so you need to use this statement. So you need to use this statement within your Apex class. Okay, rest request req equal to rest context dot request. So then after rest response equal to rest context dot response. So these things we need to specify. So with the help of this one, we are able to receive the data. So whatever the rest response res equal to res equal to rest context dot response. That means if third party system trying to send some data, if third party system trying to some data, the corresponding data available in our response. So then after based on your requirement, you can deserialize these response, or you can consume these response. With the help of that, you can create the records. You can create the records here. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, So how you are able to know what type of response you are getting. So with these rest context dot response, you are able to get the response in your JSON format. So then after you need to deserialize it, and then you can start implementing remaining code as it is here. So I would like to explain one sample example here, one sample requirement here. So in my project, okay, so we have a requirement. The requirement is basically we are receiving data we are receiving data of opportunity as well as one more object. The object is basically business entities. Okay, so they are going to provide a data of opportunity as well as business entities. Okay, so they are going to provide combined data here. So I'm using like a post method. Within the post method, what I'm going to do, I'm like simply receiving the data, JSON data here, JSON data here. So within this JSON data, whatever the response rate, from these response we are able we are able to get it here. Okay, so whatever the JSON data we got it, from these JSON data we are going to simply deserialize it, simply deserialize it. Once you are able to deserialize your JSON to the our apex format, so then after, so whatever the activities do you want to perform in your org, you can perform here. So the requirement is basically they need to create a opportunity as well as a business entity, business entity. But we are having some conditions here, we are having some conditions here. So the conditions is basically if they are provided only opportunity details, then we need to create a opportunity record. Okay, so if they are able to provide only business entity, then we need to create only business entity records. Okay, so like for this one we have prepared two different maps. So two different map based on the response what we got it, based on the response what we got it. So the corresponding response we are going to deserialize, and then we are using here, we are using here. So the requirement is basically if we are uh, if we got the response, so this response we are deserializing and then updating our opportunity record. So if this id is not null, opp id is not null, that means they have sent opportunity record. So in the case of int id is not null, so that means they have initiated entity data. So once we got these details, then if opportunity map if the opportunity map is greater than 0, that means if they are able to send opportunity data, then we are going to modify we are going to modify these opportunity records. We are going to modify these opportunity records. So once we are done with this modification, then we are simply providing a response back to the corresponding system. So simply providing a response back to the corresponding system. So if they are able to provide a entity, so I'm going to I'm going to prepare the corresponding entity process here, and then uh, and then so these entity that we are updating. So if it is success, we are providing a response back to the corresponding system. Okay, we are able to provide the response back to the corresponding system. So whatever the data we got it, so once we got the data, we are simply uh, we are simply uh, updating in our object level. Then after we are just acknowledging to the third party system. So we have received account data, we have received opportunity data, or we have received uh, business entity data, whatever the data we have received, so that we are sending an acknowledgement to the third party system. So we have received so and so, and then uh, so we got the error like this, or we are able to get the success. Okay, whatever it is, we are sending it to the third party system. Okay, so the thing here it is, once you are done with this class creation, then we have multiple steps available in our Salesforce, multiple steps available in our Salesforce. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, simply I'm like not logging this one. What is this? One moment. So once we got the response right, what we need to do, we need like create a connected app here. We need to create a connected app. So here, what these are the like current apps already available. So if you would like to create a new one, then what you can do, you can go with the like app app manager. So here we can create the new content app. So now I am going to create the content app here. So within the content app, you need to provide the content app name, and then like you need to provide the contact email. So then after, so the return URL you need to provide here. So earlier, maybe in our class starting time, someone asked the return URL. So the return URL we need to provide here. So that means whenever these services is initiating, so whatever the callback URL or like a return URL, we need to provide in these content app. So with the help of this one, they are able to navigate to the specific implementation. Okay. So here within this content app, what we need to, we need like provide the name like this. Whatever the test, I'm giving like some name like this test, and then email. So I'm going to give the my personal email ID. So then after, whatever the phone and then everything we need to use it here, enable OAuth settings. So if you are enabling OAuth settings, then callback URL is available here. So these callback URL you can give your org where you need to navigate it. Okay, you can give any URL from your org. So if you would like to navigate to the any specific thing, you can provide that one, or you can go with like our standard URL salesforce.com. Up to here, you can provide it, and then like what are the services do you want to enable? What are the services do you want to enable? We need to like specify here. So I'm going to like enable all the services at this moment. So simply I'm able to enable it. So then after what you can do, so if you would like to change any settings here, we can like modify here. Otherwise we can keep it as it is. We can keep it as it is, and then create this current app. Okay. So if you would like to go with any of the like apex classes specific, you can provide the corresponding apex class values here. So like whatever the class created with at the rate rest resource, at the rate rest resource, so those classes available here. But as of now, I haven't created, because of that it is empty. Because of that it is empty. But if I created any of the class with the URL mapping, then by default that is going to available here. So and finally we can click on like submit it. We can click on submit it, so that it is going to create one connected app in our Salesforce. So once you are done with this connected app, so I'm going to use like whatever the like endpoint URL we are having. I'm going to use this one. Up to here I'm providing. So and then I'm going to save this connected app. Okay. If I click on continue, so generally it will take some time. Generally it will take some time. So uh, once this current app is created, so then after we need to go with these manage consumer details. We need to go with these manage consumer details. So when you click on this one, then it is asking your verification code. So once you are able to provide the verification code, right, it is able to grant you to get the uh, access token client id as well as a client secret here. So now I'm like trying to get my value here. So that is 2470470. So if you're able to navigate here, you are able to get the consumer key and then consumer secret. So that means client ID, client secret. Some people called as a consumer key, consumer secret. Some people called as a client ID as well as a client secret. So if you created like these services, any of the Apex class like this, any of the Apex class like this, if you're like exposing services to the third party system, then what you need to first of all you need to create the Apex class. The next step is basically you need to use content app. So within the content app, you need just to provide the these client ID and then client secret to the third party system. Client ID and then these client secret to the third party system. So when they are trying to access our Salesforce application, what you need to provide the client id client secret, and you need to provide the endpoint url. So then after you need to provide the like a username and then password as well. So these details you need to pass it to the third party system, so that third party system able to integrate in our Salesforce application. Okay, so the contact is important, and then this client ID and client secret is also important. So then after the username and password also important. Okay, so with the help of those all those details, they are able to connect to the our Salesforce. Okay, but the thing here it is, as I mentioned, if they are like trying to access our Salesforce, so these URL is that will be taken care. Okay, so these URL, like you need to build it, whatever the service you want. So here services slash Apex REST, and then slash, you can give like any name here. You can give any name here. Okay, so that may be like your URL mapping name here. URL mapping name here. Whatever the name you have provided, you need to provide the same name. Okay, so with the help of all these things, other people able to access our Salesforce data. So I know it's like a totally different thing. So that's why I'm like just giving a highlighters here. So you may not chance to like work on these implementation at this moment, but in future you may be like work on like these features. But as of now, we just need to understand the procedure here. We just need to understand the procedure here. So here here whatever the URL mapping, that is an important thing. So once do you want like once do you want like expose your class service. So whatever the class you are having, if you would like to expose, then you need to like go with this URL mapping, and then within your method you need to use a HTTP get or like HTTP post, depending upon your requirement. Okay, so and then once you are able to provide all these things, then you need to get the data. Once you got the data, you need to deserialize it, and then once you are able to deserialize, right, once you are able to deserialize, then after whatever you want, you can do it. Okay, so up to this step only you are using this integration. Up to this step only you are using inbound integration. So once you are able to deserialize it, so then after the code should be your own only. The code should be your own only. So it won't affect like it won't like write many things related to integration. So until deserialization only we are using integration. Okay, so once we got the deserialization, uh, then remaining things are like not required. Okay, so like not required in sense. So remaining things are like your own Salesforce functionalities, whatever you want, you can implement it. But if you go with like integration, up to here only. Okay, so these REST response, and then we are able to deserialize the response. So apart from that, whatever the records do you want to create or records do you want to update, delete, so you can perform entire thing here. Okay, so I know it's like a totally different, but we just need to go with a step by step procedure. Then only we are able to we are able to learn about this integration. But as per your experience level, you may not get like questions like this. But not sure what happened in your environment. So that's why we should aware of this process as well. Okay, so you can like explain them. You may not implement all these things. If you are searching in Google, you are able to get all the solutions. So if someone asking what you can do, you just uh, expose these services. Okay, so any questions so far? But
Yes, Shrikant.
the current callback is important thing here. You need to create the current callback. Okay, so and you need to expose these uh, client ID and then client secret. So these content app. So from the content app, what you are going to do, you need to expose the client ID and then client secret. Okay, you are not you are not performing anything here. What you are going to do, you just need to create the current app. From the current app, you just need to provide the client ID, client secret. Okay, so here with the current app, we are able to restricting here. So if I would like to go with the access token, or I would like to go with some other features, so the token valid time. So we are having multiple settings available here. We can enable or disable these settings here. Okay, so how long the request should be happen. So then after the device is overflow. So we have enable single layout. So these all things available here. Okay, so depending upon your requirement, we can enable and then disable these service from your current app. And these current app you can control with the help of your profile as well. Okay, so whatever the profile, for the specific profile, do you want to execute or do you want disable? We are able to control. We are able to control with the help of these content app. Okay, so if you would like to provide the security to the third party system instance, so with this current app only, you are able to provide the security. Any questions so far?
Yes,
Shrikant, to automate the process of sharing records between systems, do we need to write trigger on our REST class?
We need to implement the trigger. From the
Mm,
trigger, we need to initiate the REST class.
okay.
Okay.
In future method, we need to write or directly.
Yes, we need to write it. So from the trigger directly, we cannot write integration logic within the trigger. So that's
Mm,
why what we're going to do, we need to use the future method. So from the future method, we can initiate the request.
okay.
So you may not work on all these things, but you just need to understand the procedure here. So how things is happening. Okay. So these integration, if I would like to implement uh, these all features, right? Uh, then it may take so much of time. Whatever the REST resource and all those things, we need to expose it. Okay. But the thing here it is, if you would like to expose, right? We need uh, one moment. If you would like to expose, this content is sufficient, and we need third party system how they are able to consume here. Otherwise, we need to go with postman. We can verify these details with the help of a postman, but in my system it is not working properly. Otherwise, we can access these services. Okay, so otherwise you can just search it in Google how to provide inbound integration. So they are able to provide a step by step procedure here. So first we need to create an apex class. Within the apex class we need to expose the services. So then after we need to create the content app. So within the content app we need to get the username and password. So with the username and password they are able to uh, from the client id client secret, whatever the client ID client secret we are getting. So with the client ID and client secret, along with the client ID client secret, we need to provide the endpoint URL, and then we need to provide the uh, like these username and password. So these five details we need to provide to the user. So the user they are able to integrate, and then they are able to initially generate the access token. So once we got the access token, with that access token only uh, you are able to access the services. Whatever the access token you are getting, right? So with this access token only you are able to access all the services. Okay, so like there is a procedure uh, only the way of like generating access token, those all things third party system people they need to aware of it. But sometimes they are going to ask you how to generate the access token and how to generate these integration requests. Okay, so at the time we should be aware. Okay, so that's the reason we are that's the reason we are using this current app and everything. Okay, uh, so here, right, what you can do, just create one content app, and then just try to build one of the basic uh, method here. Okay, so within the method you just need to receive the id. From the id, just get the child records. Maybe if you are able to provide the account id, then you need to just respond as contact records, all the contact records under that account. Okay, so like that you can implement it. So I am going to share this code with you. Okay, so just try to understand what's happening here, how we are able to implementing, how we have implemented. Okay, I'm going to share this code with you in our chat. Copy and copy this one. Okay, so what you can do, so try to understand the procedure here. So what I did, okay, so I am receiving the JSON data. So then after with these JSON data I am updating our record. So once I am done with this update, I am like initiating one request here to the I'm like I'm just responding to the system. So how I'm responding in sense, so opportunity record success or not. Okay, and then empty record failed. So delete it. So record here. Okay, simply in the case of opportunity record is modified, then I am going to give the opportunity success. In the case of like entry record is modified, then I am going to give the entity success equal to true. So if both are modified, then I am going to give the both are true, and then providing the success response. In the case of both are fail, so then I am going to give the opportunity success fail, and entity success also like a false, and whatever the error message we are getting, the corresponding error message I am going to dispatch it here. Okay, so here I am able to control after the modification of opportunity record, modification of these entry record, I am able to control here. Okay, so from your end, just try to understand these Apex class what I did, and similar create one content app, create one content app. So along with that, try to use the standard APIs as well. So try to use the standard APIs as well. So delete. So then after we are having like composite, right? So these all things, we just need to aware of it. Okay, so no need to like implement it, but just aware of it. Okay, so any questions? So we can move forward. So far?
Shrikant, the code you sent is half only, I think. Once check.
No. I have shared all that code. Otherwise, I'm going to upload the file. Okay, I'm going to upload the file. So can
Okay.
I upload here? No. So I don't have an option to upload file here, but I will upload in our uh, WhatsApp group, so you can download from there.
Okay.
So for our experience level, right? So these all things is not required, but uh, just we need to aware of it. That's it. Okay, these things generally some high level experience people they are going to implement it. Okay, but from your end, right, in an interview, so even they are going to like implement it or they may not implement it. They will ask everything. So they will ask like you are aware of visual post pages and lighting other components, lighting web components, and everything they are going to ask you. Okay, but they may be used or they may not be used. Irrespective of that, they are going to ask you all the questions. Okay, so just try to understand the procedure, what happening here. So we'll see. So if you face any issues or any challenges, let me know. We can like clear this one. So and one more thing. So can we connect tomorrow? So we can go with the LWC class, or we can go with Monday. Can we connect tomorrow or Monday? Anything is fine for me.
Yes, Shrikant.
Tomorrow it's fine.
Okay. So tomorrow we can go with either LWC or we can go with like batch. So we can finish one topic tomorrow. So next week probably we can wrap it up all the things. You can prepare whatever you want. If you have any questions in overall the topic, right, you can ask me in our next week. Okay. After that, like sessions, if you want, then I will conduct it. Okay, based on your request only, I am going to join. Okay, topics is going to complete. So based on your request, if you have any question